and just some helpful tips on staying organized. As a reminder, as far as Google Meet is concerned, we do ask that you stay muted unless you need to ask a question. Your mute button is at the top of your Meet screen.
Oh, the squirrel in there?
Hover over the bottom of your screen or click at the bottom of your Meet screen. You should see these 3 icons. We want to click that microphone so it turns red. Now, it might not sound like there's a lot of noise on your end, but sometimes that background noise can be a little distracting. So if you have not muted yourself, I'm going to ask that you do that.
All right. So,
all right. Sorry, I'm going to try to get to Mr. Meyer there to mute him.
Digital resources that we think could be really helpful for you, your students, and families during this pandemic. And so, first of all, I just want to acknowledge how challenging it is.
All right, I'll try to talk over that if I can for now. There we go. Thank you.
Actually, right now, coming to you live from elementary school.
All right, we also have the camera option next to the mute button. If you see a camera at the bottom, you are able to enable or disable that depending on personal preference. So if you're more comfortable with that off, feel free to turn that on. If you prefer to leave it on, we are happy to see your face today. So personal preference.
Great. Video is a
Yeah, we can talk about your microphone towards the end of our session today. Ways to fix that. I'm going to do my best to talk over. There we go. Thank you so much. I don't have the ability to mute, otherwise I would. All right. I will tell you very quickly, you do have the option to change the layout of your Meet screen so that you are only seeing the video as opposed to seeing everyone else's faces on the side. So if you just want to focus on the presentation, I would select these 3 dots at the bottom right and then select layout. I prefer the spotlight layout for this type of event. That way you can just really focus on the presentation. But again, that's up to you. But one more time, if you want to change that, the 3 dots, then layout, and then spotlight. All right, we also have the chat feature at the top right. It is a little speech bubble. If you select that, you will see a sidebar that allows you to type questions or comments to the group. That is where you can let Seth know if you have any questions or if I need to speed up or slow down, and we will get to those questions when we can. All right, so let's go ahead and test out that chat feature. At the top right, if you will click on that chat button, and please tell us your name and what experience, if any, you have in using Google Drive. All right, that is okay. It looks like we have people who are at different levels of experience. That's perfect. Those of you who are new, we will start at the beginning. And those of you who have used it a bit, maybe we'll teach you a few organizational tricks while you are here today. All right, another completely optional thing you are welcome to do today. If you would like to try to open two windows on your device at the same time, you are welcome to do that. Sometimes people prefer to be able to watch the presentation or watch their meet screen in one window and then follow along with the actual tasks in another window. Now, again, if this is confusing to you or you can't get it to work, please don't worry about it. I will show you an alternative. However, if you would like to give this a shot, there is a keyboard shortcut that will allow you to quickly open a new window. So if you are on a Chromebook or a PC, that keyboard shortcut is Control N as in new. If you are on a Mac, that keyboard shortcut is Command and the letter N as in new. And that will pop open a new window for you. After it opens that new window, all you need to do is use your cursor to hover over the edges of that window to adjust the size. So when you hover over the edge, you should get some little arrows that allow you to drag your window bigger or smaller. And then you can just kind of arrange them to fit side by side on your screen. Now, again, if that is not working for you or if it's too confusing, you can do what I'm going to do, which is I'm simply going to open another tab at the top of my screen. So if you would like to do it this way, just navigate up to the top of your window and click on this plus sign, and that will give you another tab. So at this time, that second window or that new tab shouldn't have anything in it just yet. We're just getting prepared. Now keep in mind, if you are using the tabs and you go to do something and you can't see my screen, I will do my best to narrate all the actions so that you can listen and follow along as I talk you through the steps. All right. We are going to start today in Google Drive. Google Drive is the online cloud-based filing storage tool for Google. So everything you create in Google lives in your Google Drive. So Google Docs, Google Sheets, slide presentations, all of that automatically lives there. However, there are some people like me who use their Google Drive to store everything. So I never keep any files on my actual computer. Everything lives in my Google Drive. So even vacation photos I keep there. And one reason is it allows me to access those things from anywhere. So I could go to any computer, any device, and log into my Google Drive to get to my things there. That way I also don't have to worry about having, an external hard drive, or what if everything stored on my computer gets lost when it crashes. So that's why I prefer to use Google Drive as my storage tool. To get to Google Drive, I'm going to give you a couple of different options, and you can use whichever works best for you. So in your new tab or your new window, you might see in the top right corner, you have what we call the Google App Launcher, which looks kind of like a waffle. It's like a circle when you hover over it, and it has 9 little circles in a grid. If you select that icon, you will see the most commonly used Google apps, and you can select Drive. Drive looks like a little triangle, almost like the recycling sign. If you aren't seeing that, you can also just type in your address bar drive.google.com. So either of those options works as long as you land at your Google Drive. So I'm going to give you a second. If anyone has trouble getting to your Google Drive, let me know that you need more time or you need help in the chat so I can pause for you. Julia, because you are on an educational account, you have unlimited storage for your Google Drive, so that is not a concern. I will tell you, I have maxed my storage on my personal account, so I pay, I think it's like $1.99 a month to have just an outrageous amount of storage on my Google Drive. But within your school account, you should be fine. All right, so hopefully everyone has arrived at their Google Drive, and we're just going to work from the top down to go through some features, just so you're really familiar with this before we jump into Classroom. So there are kind of two schools of thought when it comes to organizing and accessing things in your Google Drive. I am a folder person. I like to have folders within folders, and I like everything to be named correctly and organized really well. And when I need to get to something, I just go to the folder and I find it there. But some would argue that a faster method is just to search using the search bar at the top of your drive. So when you use that method, you just have to know what you're looking for. So you have to remember what you titled something. So if you don't like using folders and you are the kind of person who would rather just search, that is perfectly fine. I am going to show you how to make folders and organize that way, but it is not the only way to use your drive. Okay, so just keep that in mind, whatever works best for you. Now, as we work our way down, you will see the first thing that appears at the top of my drive. You see the folders first, okay? You'll notice that mine go in alphabetical order. And then below that, I have any loose documents that aren't filed in a folder. I can change the way this is sorted on my screen. So towards the top right, I have a little location where it says name and it has an up arrow. So I could change how things are sorted here and the direction they're sorted. Just by clicking on name, I can change it to the last modified. So the things I've used most recently will be at the top and so on. I typically just leave that as is, but just know that is an option. The other feature that you might want to consider adjusting based on your personal preference is what view you are using in Google Drive. The default view is what you're seeing here, which is what we call grid view. So everything is displayed in a little rectangle or a little square. So to me, this is very visually appealing. But some people prefer the grid layout. Where you can adjust that is right over here at the top right. Underneath your name, you will see a little icon that is the opposite of whatever view you are using now. So right now I'm in grid view. So if I hover over that icon, it says list view. And if I click that, it will change to maybe what you're more used to seeing in the files of your computer. I'm going to change mine back to grid view though. One thing that I forgot to point out, it's a feature that I've turned off on my Google Drive. You actually probably have something showing up here above your folders, and it probably says quick access. If you see quick access, those are just the files that Google thinks you will need soon. Maybe you've been in them pretty frequently, or it's something that you have open all the time, or you just had it open. Basically, it's Google's attempt at saying, hey, I think you might need this next. I don't like having that up there because I usually know exactly where I need to go. So if you want to turn that feature on or off, I'm going to show you how to do that now. So your settings for Google Drive are at the top right of your screen. There is a settings gear in the very top row at the right. And if we select that, we will then select settings. Now there's a lot of stuff to play with here, but really there's only a couple things you would ever need to worry about. And I think I'm only going to talk about one today, just so we make sure we get through everything. But if you scroll all the way down to suggestions at the bottom, you probably have this very top box next to suggestions checked. And what that says is make relevant files handy in quick access. Like I said, I uncheck that because I don't like that. But if you want it there, you can, of course, leave that checked and then select done. So that's why yours might look just a little different than mine. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about making a folder and sorting some things. So at the top left of your Google Drive, you will see a giant plus button that says New. Let's go ahead and select that. From here, you can make any of the Google platform type of documents that you want right from here. So I don't have to go to the Docs homepage to make a doc. I can make it right here. I can also upload things. So if you want to be crazy like me and upload all your photos here, you could upload them this way. But we're just going to focus on making a folder. So that very top option, let's select that. And then we can title it however we like. Now, if you notice on my examples on my screen, at 5-star, we like to use emojis a lot because it helps us identify things quickly, but also it's because it changes the order of those folders for us, right? So right now my folders are in alphabetical order, but if I know that, for instance, these two folders on my screen, I use those a lot and I need those at the top, I can put either a number or an emoji in front of them just to bring them to the top, right? So let's say I want a folder for daily check-ins. And I know I want that up there in that top row. I could put a number in front of it and that will bring it to the top. Or I could also use emojis. Now, to do an emoji on your text box here, there are a couple different options. You probably won't be able to see what happens when I right-click on my screen because I'm only sharing one window with you. But if you were to right-click within this box, there should be an option to select emojis. There's also a keyboard shortcut. If you're on a Mac, I know offhand it's Control-Command-Space to bring up the emojis. I can't tell you what it is on a PC offhand, but you should still be able to do that right click and see your emojis. Again, that's just cosmetic. That's not essential, but I just wanted to mention that if you wondered about those. So then I will choose Create. Now you will see the way this has been ordered on my screen. My emojis come first, and then my numbers come next, and then the alphabet is next. So if you're just wondering about the order, that's how that works out. I can also change the color of my folders. So if you maybe have different classes that you teach during a day and they're color-coded, you could do the same thing here. So to change the color of a folder, I simply need to right-click on it. So when I say right-click, this can get a little confusing. If you are on a laptop and you don't have a mouse, to right-click, you can just take 2 fingers and click on your trackpad with those 2 fingers. And that will bring up a little menu that allows you to change the color of your folder. So if you choose change color, you can choose whatever color you want. And you can also rename your folder here if you need to change the name of it. Now you'll notice when I did that, it didn't change the entire color of the tile, just the folder within it. When we look at those little folders, what we can also tell is if those folders have been shared with someone. So I just made this folder, the daily check-ins, so you can see it is solid. As opposed to these ones on the left side of my screen, they have a little person in them. If your folder has a little person in it, it means it's been shared with someone. So either you've created it and shared it with someone, or someone else created it and shared it with you. So if you want to know more information about that, maybe who shared it with you or who owns it, you can simply click one time on any folder just to highlight it in blue. And then over at the right side of your screen below your name, you should see a little circle with a letter I in it. You hover over it, it says View Details. If you select that, you will be able to tell who owns that folder. So sometimes that's helpful if you're wondering, why do I have that folder? Who's in charge of it? Who shared it with me? And if you want that information sidebar to go away, you can simply click the X. All right, so now I've made a folder and I want to start to put some things in it. I can go down here to my files and simply click and hold on any file and drag it up and into the folder. So I simply release it over the folder and it will go inside of that folder. Yes, if you change the color of a shared folder, it changes for others. At least, well, let me say this. I know the name changes because I used to put all of my folders in number order and I would have them in the colors of the rainbow because I'm a former art teacher. And I know the name changed. I believe the color changed with it. I can't swear to that. If someone can correct me or confirm that, let us know in the chat. All right. That's what happens when you share folders with an art teacher. They're all going to end up in rainbow color order. Okay, so now we've moved some files into our folders, okay? Let's say I want to select more than one file at a time. If you would, go ahead and take a look at my screen so you can see how I do this. If you have a lot of stuff that needs organized, this will be very helpful to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag a box around multiple files. So I'm coming over here to where there's no files or just basically a blank spot where I'm not going to click on anything. So I'm going to click and hold and draw a box. And when I do that, I can select multiple files. I could go all the way down and select all of them if I want. And then click and hold on any of the ones I've selected. And you'll see it's going to grab them all. And I can move them all at once into the same folder. Okay. If at any time you want to see the expanded view of your drive, so you want to see all your folders and everything within those folders, you can come over here to the left side of your screen. So feel free, if you'd like to jump back to your view to see this, you can, or stay on my screen. It's completely up to you. But where it says drive on the left side, you'll notice there's a little drop-down arrow next to that. If I click that little drop-down arrow, I'm going to see all of my folders. And each one that has a little triangle next to it, I can click on those folders and see if they expand anymore. So this one has another folder within it. So if I'm just kind of wondering, like, where does that folder live? I can view everything this way, okay? And if I want to collapse it, I can just hit that triangle again and it all goes away. Now, just below the word My Drive, you should see Shared Drives. You probably will not use shared drives, but I just want to tell you what they are, just in case you're wondering. So typically when we share something in Google Drive, the person who has shared it, that person is the owner. So if I share something with you, I own that document. And if I choose to delete it or I delete my account because maybe I don't work there anymore, you lose access to that file. So with shared drives, the organization owns everything in it, right? So your school district would own everything in that document or in that drive as opposed to individuals owning it. That way, if one of you would leave or just, you take a different job and your account doesn't exist anymore, the things you've created and shared can still live there for others to use. So like I said, you probably won't use that. I just wanted to point out what that is. Now, just below that is where you're going to see that I'm very messy. This is my shared with me. When people share things with you in Google Drive, they automatically go here. So if we click on that, I always see things I did not know were shared with me, and you probably will too. You'll start to notice there's like all sorts of documents and folders that people have shared with you, maybe from like years ago. I didn't know I had that. Listen, I am very highly organized, but I never touch my shared with me as far as organization goes. But if there is something shared with me and I want it and I want to see it on my drive, I can do that. So I'm going to find something that I want on my Google Drive. Let's see, what do I want? Okay, let's choose this file. I am going to right click on it, which is again a 2-finger click, and I have an option that says add shortcut to drive, or yours might say add to drive. It just kind of depends on how up to date your drive is at this time. They just changed the wording on this. It used to just say add to my drive, and now it says add shortcut to drive. So if I select that, what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, where do you want it to be? And I'm just going to say just in my drive. I'm not going to put it anywhere else. And then I'll choose add shortcut. I right clicked on a file in my shared with me. That's how I got there. So I clicked on shared with me at the left, and then I chose whatever I wanted here that I thought I needed to be on my Google Drive. And I right clicked it, and then I got add shortcut to drive. So now if I need to get to that document, I don't have to go into that messy shared with me spot. It is right here on my drive. And you can see it has this little shortcut symbol on it. Okay. That if I scroll up, you can do the same with folders. I have this folder here that someone shared with me, but I use it all the time. So I just added the shortcut to my drive so I don't have to look for it in my shared with me. Okay. Moving down, the rest of these recent, it's just a way to find things that you recently worked on if you're looking for something and you don't know the name of it, but you know you just opened it. If you want to star certain things that are extra important, you can do that. That's not really something I use, but if there is something that you use frequently, you can right click on it and you can add to starred. And that's just like where super important things live. Just another organizational tool. And you can also put things in your trash. All right. What questions do you have about the organizational aspects at this time? If you have any, just drop them in the chat for me. If you do have any questions, you can go ahead and add them in and I will get to them as I can. Before we leave Drive and go to Classroom though, I do want to talk to you about sharing. Now, if you are using Classroom to share things with your students, this doesn't necessarily apply to sharing with students. But if you maybe want to share things with colleagues or parents, you probably want to share it from your Drive. So to do this, let's say I have this daily check-in and I want to share it with a colleague because I think, you know what, they could really use this with their students. I'm going to right click on that document, and you can do this with a folder too. And I am going to choose this share option at the top. It's the third one from the top. It has a little person with a plus sign. Yes, I will show you that emoji thing in just a second. And yes, you do have your Google Classroom files here. Very good. All right. You know what? I'm going to choose something that I know hasn't been shared. This. Okay, let me do that again. So I'm going to choose share. This is what you will probably see if it has not been shared at all. It will look like this. This is the fastest and easiest way to share something with one person. So if I know I want to share this with Kelly, I can start typing it in, and it's going to send her an email saying, hey, Amy has shared something with you, and here's how you get to it. And she can just get to it from her Gmail. You'll notice to the right of it, it has a little icon that tells me what permission she has with it. So if I share this with Kelly, she can edit this. So I have to decide, do I want her to edit my copy or not? Are we collaborating on it, or do I not want her to mess with mine? So I can always change that pencil to can view, and then she can just look at it, or can comment. So maybe she can make suggestions of how to improve it without editing my document. I can also write her a little note to tell her what it is if she's not expecting it. So let me back out of this. And let's say, you know what? I need to share this with like a ton of people, and I don't have all their email addresses. I don't even know all their names. Maybe I want to share it on a website or in a newsletter. I have another sharing option. So from the screen that says share with others, so feel free to watch mine or follow along. At the top right of that box, you will see the text get shareable link. I'm going to click that. When I do, it's going to do two things. Here it said at the bottom of my screen, it says the link has been copied to your clipboard and link sharing is on. So what that means is it copied this link and now it's telling me that anyone at 5-star with this link can view. So that's the default. The default will be within your organization and that they can view. I don't know why the default is different between these two, right? So the default when you're emailing is that they can edit, and the default when you're using the link is that they can view. I'm not really sure why, but so if I want to change this, I just click on this at the top where it says anyone at 5-star with the link can view. And then you will see you have all sorts of other options. So I can let anyone at 5-star edit or comment. But you know what? I need this to go to people outside my organization. So I'm going to click on more down here at the bottom. And now look, these top couple options, I can share it with anyone, even outside my organization, as long as they have that link. So I'm going to choose that. So if you need to share something with people outside your school, or maybe parents who don't have a school account, you can select that option. Now, right down here at the bottom, I can change what permission they have from can view to can edit, and then I can choose save. And now what I do is I take this link and I email it to parents or I post it on a website. And then whenever they click on that link, they are taken to that file and they have whatever permission I've given them. Okay. So that's how you share something from your Google Drive. One more thing that I'm going to show you really quickly before we hop into Classroom. This is one of my favorite tricks. I'm going to open up this Google Doc. So this works with docs, it works with slides, it works with sheets, any of those things that you create in Google. So this is a document I created. Now, let's say I want to share this with Seth, but I want him to just have his own copy of it without changing mine, right? So I want to give him a copy of it that he can own and he can edit. So let me show you how I can do that. So, two-step process, and people always forget the first step. So let me tell you the first step. The first step is you have to adjust your share settings. So up here at the top, I'm going to click on share. This is going to be exactly like what we just did, but now we're doing it inside the document instead of from outside. So I'm going to click on share, and I need to make sure of two things. I need to make sure that whoever I'm sharing this with can view it, okay? So I'm sharing it with Seth. Seth is in 5-star, so I don't have to change this, but I could, right? I could change it to anyone with the link can view. So number one, make sure that the person can view it. That's step number one. But now, instead of copying this link, I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna click done. What this is called forcing a copy. So normally, like I told you, you would share that link with someone. With forcing a copy, you share a different link, okay? So again, step one, make sure they can view the document. Step two, if we come up here to the URL, the website for this doc, you'll notice the last word is edit because I can edit it. But if I click up here and I delete the word edit and I change it to copy, and then I give this link to someone else, this is what happens. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to email it to them. I'm going to pretend I'm them. And then I'm going to paste it up here. And you'll see what happens. This forces whoever gets this to make their own copy. So then they own a copy of it that they can edit and it does not affect mine. Okay, questions on that? Okay. Sharon, I bet that Seth can do that for you, but if not, we'll find some steps that we can just copy and paste from the internet that tell you that, just so you have a copy of them. All right, so while he's doing that, while you guys are working on that, I'm gonna go ahead and go into Google Classroom. Okay, now, I'm gonna have you join my classroom. I'm not sure we're gonna have time to do much, but I want you in there just so you can see some things. So if you would, please look at my screen. I am going to give you a new class code. So if you have been in another one of our more advanced trainings, you might already be in this classroom. This is not the Classroom 101 that you might have done for your very first class. This is, pull it up for you in another screen so we don't lose that. So again, the directions to join that classroom are on your screen. And the class is called MPS, Doing More with Google Classroom. I am going to drag that onto the screen that you are seeing. And there you go. So that is the class that you should be in. Very good. Thank you, Seth, for putting those directions there. I'll put your code back up in case you need it. Oh, good. And that is in the chat as well. So the directions to join as well as the code are in Google Classroom, or I'm sorry, are in the Meet chat. You can go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause for a second and give you time to do that. Thank you, Linda. I'm just talking away. Let me tell you about the organizational unit of this, okay? When you make something in your Google Classroom, it automatically goes to your Google Drive, okay? And where does it go? It goes into a folder called Classroom. I didn't make it, you didn't make it, it's just magically there, okay? Within that folder, you will have a folder for each of your classes, okay? So let me show you what that looks like on my end. So I have this classroom folder. If I open that up, I then have a folder for each class I've created. And then if I open each of those up, you will see a folder for each assignment. Now this templates, we'll talk about that in a second. One thing that is very important is do not delete your classroom folder. Once you delete it, it makes it really hard for the two to communicate, and it's kind of hard to fix. So make sure we keep that classroom folder. Sometimes I have people like change the color of the folder or write like do not delete in front of it. That's fine. Just don't delete it. Okay. All right. So now that you are in the Google Classroom, go ahead and click on classwork at the top. Okay. From here, you will see a topic for each of our more advanced classes. And as you scroll down, I want you to find the one that has the two hands shaking, and it says Google Drive and Classroom Integration. Okay. What I would like for you to do as students is this first assignment. It says do this assignment. If you click on that, it's going to give you directions, and it's going to tell you, you are probably seeing a document there with your name on it, like magically, okay? So I want you to complete that document for me. And once you're done, I'm gonna show you how that looks on my end and how that looks in your Google Drive. Linda, if you are ending up with a lot of student work in your Drive, they're probably sharing it with you instead of submitting it in Google Classroom. Is that correct?
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there a way I can see your screen? Well, I didn't split screen. I need to see your screen and my screen at the same time because I can't find the two hands and I don't know what you did to get to them because I'm in my classroom or your classroom.
Do you see this on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, click on classwork at the top.
I did.
Okay, and then as you scroll down, do you see the one that says Google Drive and Classroom Integration?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I do, but I don't see the hands in my Google Classroom and integration. I see two things. Do this assignment, Drive in Classroom, and helpful resources.
For some reason, the emojis might not be showing up on your screen, but if you see where it says do this assignment, Drive plus Classroom, that's what we're doing.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Open the.
I have a question.
Sure.
When I finish my assignment and try to turn it in, the class cannot be found. Why does that happen?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. Do you have that happen a lot, or is this the only time that's ever happened?
It happens a lot. I think I have to switch over to my MPS email address instead of my Google email address. But once I did that, I was knocked out of the class, and now I don't know where to go.
Sometimes if you've logged into your browser using another email account, like you said, it gets confused and it doesn't know which account to pull from, and so it won't let you in certain things. So were you able to join this class?
I was able to join the class. I also did the assignment, but when it was time to turn it in,
then it didn't work.
Yeah, I have to go back and click on the MPS email address. However, once I do that, I'm lost. I don't know where I am.
What do you see on your screen right now?
Well, let me do it right now. Let me go back. So when I click turn in, it said class cannot be found. In the upper right hand corner, there is a waffle. Actually, I just click on my initial, which is F, and then the next email shows up. I click on it, and then it opens up the classroom Google Classroom again.
Okay. Can you go back into this assignment and see if you can click turn in? You won't have to redo the assignment, but you should still be able to turn it in.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
And I'm not even that familiar with how to do all of this, so give me
That's okay. And if this does not work for you today, it's okay. This is not essential to organizing your drive. I just want to show you what happens to those things that you turn in and where they go in your drive.
This is good. I see a whole list of, I need to go maybe to classwork instead of the stream.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Okay, and I'm looking.
Melissa, when you click the assignment, does it like open a new screen for you? You should see something that looks relatively like, what will my screen look like when it loads? In a second. It should look something like this, but over at the right side, you should have a file that has your name on it. I don't see that on mine because I'm the teacher, but over here on the right, it should have a file with your name on it. And that's where the turn in button is as well. So you have to click turn in from this screen. Okay, good.
Okay, I see my document.
Okay.
In step 3. I don't know if that's where it's supposed to be.
And then do you have that turn in button or no?
Let's see.
Up in the top right.
Upper type my. Let me just click on it though. I'm going to click on my assignment. You said the upper right hand corner? Oh yeah, I do. I see the button now.
Okay, good. All right, so the reason that I wanted you to do this is because I wanted to show you maybe a more streamlined way to get your students to share work with you. Okay, so if you have used Google Docs outside of Classroom before, you probably had to have your students share things with you, and then it kind of clutters up your drive, or they don't know how to share it correctly, or they leave it untitled, right? And so you don't know whose document is what or what it's for. This takes care of all of that for you. Okay, so if you will watch my screen, I want to show you how we created this type of assignment. This type of an assignment will make a Google Doc for each of your students the way it just worked for you, okay? So I'm going to go back to my classwork, and I am going to choose Create at the top left. I'm going to choose Assignment. I'm just going to do a test title. Okay, so let's say, for example, every week my students do some sort of writing assignment, okay? And maybe I just want to get them a blank Google Doc, okay? So I don't have to worry about the fact that they don't share it right or they don't title it right. Or maybe I want to have some questions in that Google Doc, like what you saw when you clicked on your document. What I can do is from right here within Google Classroom, I can kind of create that template that will then go to each and every student, okay? Yes, like when students don't put their names on papers, absolutely. All right, so if you watch my screen at the bottom, I have 2 options. I have Add and Create. So if I already have a template in my drive for this, like that daily check-in I showed you, I could just add this. But let's say I don't, okay? Let's say, you know what? I'm going to keep this really simple, and I am just going to choose Create and then just a blank Google Doc, okay? You don't even have to put anything on this. Or you could change the title to week 4 writing, so you know what it is. That way you won't get anything untitled, okay? That's all I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna X out of it because it's a Google Doc, so it automatically saves. It's going to take me back here. And now this is the important step. And it's one step and it's so easy. And it'll change your life. Right here where it says students can view the file, I'm going to click that drop down. And I'm going to say make a copy for each student. And then the students will see what you saw. They will each have their own document that has their name plus that week 4 writing in the title, and it's automatically shared with you. They don't have to know how to share, and guess what? They don't even have to turn it in. I know some of you struggle to find that turn in button. They don't have to turn it in. I can still see it. So let me show you that from the teacher side for the assignment you just did. So I'm going to go into that assignment that you did. I'm going to open it up. And then as a teacher, I will see everyone in my class and the work they submitted. So it says turned in for these ones at the top, but let's scroll down. Let's say one of these people, they did it, but they forgot to turn it in. I can still click on their document and view it, even if they didn't hit turn in. It's automatically shared with me. So like right down here, Amber did this, but she didn't hit turn in. I can still open it up and view it and grade it. I would probably say like, hey, let's just make sure we're turning it in just so I know they did it. And I don't have to like open it up to find out. But that make a copy for every student is like my absolute favorite feature. So what does that look like on the Google Drive end? Let me show you. Feel free to watch my screen for this part. I am going to go into Google Drive and let me switch to the account that that class is tied to for you. Okay, again, I'm looking for that classroom folder. You can see this drive is organized in the list view instead of grid view. And we put this little emoji in front of the classroom folder because we know it's important. So I'm going to open up that folder, and then I'm going to open up the folder for my class. So let's see, I'm looking for, we have a lot of classes in this account, don't we? MPS, doing more with Google Classroom. So I'm going to click to open that. And now, what I can do, oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Gosh dang it. Let's try again. I'm going to close some of these out because I'm running kind of slow. While I'm doing this, if you have questions, feel free to drop them into the chat so I can get to them as soon as I am done demoing this. There we go. Okay, so now what you see, I have a folder for that assignment you just did. It's right up here at the top. If I open that folder, I see everyone's document that Google Classroom already created for me. Okay, so that's where they live. If you're wondering, like, where do these documents live, who owns them, and so on, okay? They live in this folder in your drive. Do you ever have to get to this? No, absolutely not. I never went into this folder when I used Google Classroom with students, but I just show you that if you're wondering. Now, that template you made in Google Classroom, that lives here in this templates do not edit folder. And that's where we see that template that I created right in front of you. Okay. Now that was a lot. I know that was a lot of me talking. So tell me in the chat or unmute yourself. Tell me what questions you have or what you would like me to go back through. You're very welcome.
Mary?
Okay, Julia, I will get to you with your microphone in just 1 second. Options for grading. We do have a session that we offer on grading and feedback. I'm not sure if it's on your training schedule or not. I think one of your coaches is here and could maybe speak to that. Upload a document into Google Classroom for students. Okay. So I'm going to go into my classroom. There's several different ways to do this. It just depends on, are you wanting to do this as an assignment, or do you just want them to like have access to the document? Like it's not going to be part of a graded assignment.
As an assignment.
Okay, got it.
I want the students to take a picture. Mathematics is really hard, but I want them to take a picture of their math notebook and upload a picture of their first page only. And I'm pretty confused about how to do it. Some students know how to do it, but I want to be able to explain to other people.
When they are uploading the picture, are they uploading like an actual image file, or are they pasting that image into a Google Doc?
I've seen it both ways.
Okay. So I guess that's where you would kind of decide which way you prefer it. And I've done this before too, when I would have students share like their self-portrait with me for me to print it out for them to look off of. So if you follow my screen, I'll show you kind of how I would do this.
Next question. Are we going to have access to this video? I mean, I see you recording it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like it is going to be linked on your website, but also for future reference, if you ever look back at one of these trainings on your calendar, like on your Google Calendar, if you click on the event, the recording automatically attaches to that event. So you can go back there and view it from there at any time as well.
I got to see if it's even on my calendar. I'm not sure.
Okay, I know talked earlier in the chat about where this would be found.
I don't see it in my calendar.
Hey everyone, this is Neva.
Hi, Neva.
The remote PD spreadsheet where people are finding out about these sessions, at the bottom there's a tab for past classes, and the link to the recording is on the past classes tab.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Neva. All right, so this would be my workflow for that type of assignment. I would go to your classwork and choose the plus create button at the top. And then I would choose assignment. And then I think what I would do is I would create a blank Google Doc, just like I did, okay? And I think within that blank Google Doc, I would give them just like really quick instructions on how to paste it there. So you can see that Google Doc is loading for me now. So I think I would say students, click below. Okay, the students right click below. And they, that would have them paste their image. You know what? Better idea. Students, go to the top of the screen and choose insert. Okay, so when they click insert, then they will see image. So I would say choose image and choose upload from computer. Choose image, then choose upload from computer. This will upload your image to this document. And then I would say, don't forget to turn it in. And then what would happen is, you know what, I would name it. Let's say math, homework, and then whatever the lesson is. So I can X out of this, but what would happen is when students go to this assignment, they will have that option that you saw where they'll have a document with the title of that math lesson and their name, They will click to open it and see this. They will paste their picture below, or they will insert it below and click turn in. Then when you go to grade it, you will see all the Google Docs with their images pasted into it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope that works for you.
Number one.
Will that photo not end up in your photo drive?
No, because it's not a photo file. It's just you've pasted an image onto a document.
No, I mean when you go to get it. So when you upload it, there was a place that showed Google Photo.
Uh-huh. Right there.
Yeah.
That's only if the students are using Google Photos, like if they have like a Google device like a Pixel, or they just have made the extra step of using Google Photos. But for the most part, I would not think they would be using that. I mean, they could also, if you're doing something with a web camera, you could have them get it directly from the camera. Like if they're using their Chromebook or whatever to take a picture, that would be another option. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, so changing the colors on the folder, yes, you just right click on the folder and choose and select change color. Now, having problems with your microphone, would you care to just, I know you can't unmute, but can you type in the chat really quickly what happened that maybe made it not work? And I know we are over on time, so if you need to head out, feel free to do that. I will put up, let's see. Here is the link for attendance if you need to fill that out, and feel free to head out whenever you need to. Thank you for joining us. I'm happy to stay on and answer questions as long as you need, though.
Hi, I'm sorry, but can you show real fast how you change the color on the file folder?
Yeah, okay. So I will go into my drive. I am going to right click on it. So again, if you are on a laptop and you don't have a mouse, just take 2 fingers and click with them together on your trackpad, and that is the same as a right click. And then you should see a menu pop up, and you can choose change color. Did that work for you?